In 2001, I wrote down that I wanted to change people's lives. I pictured a stage, lights, a room full of people, and somebody obviously introducing me. What I actually got was a 5-year-old and a broken glass. And it changed my life, not hers. She dropped a glass in our kitchen. She was 5, and I lost it. Not violent, not even that loud, just my father's voice coming out of my mouth at a 5-year-old over a glass. She stared at me with utter disbelief because she has never ever met this person that is shouting at her now. And it wasn't guilt. I had guilt before. Guilt is easy. It was recognition. I heard him in my kitchen, in my voice, 40 years after I swore I'd be nothing like him. And the person who caught me was my wife. It wasn't a therapist. Wasn't one of my 3 friends who are paid in beer to tell me the truth. It was a child who wasn't even mine. Now go back to that page in 2001. My handwriting. I want to help people. I want to change people's lives. When I wrote that when I was 25 in a corporate job, and I absolutely pictured a stage. That's the ego version. Change lives, plural, at scale, with a microphone. Tony Roberts. The page never said how, same as it never said which town, same as it never said who I'd be married to. The page only ever says what. Life picks the delivery. 2 girls came with my second marriage. And I'm going to be honest because there's no point doing this otherwise. I didn't love them at first. I liked them. I was decent to them. I did all of the things. But love, the kind that costs you something, that took time. And I felt like a fraud the whole way. Because the story everybody tells you is that your heart grows 3 sizes bigger the moment you meet them. Mine didn't. And I seriously doubt if anyone else's does. Mine had to be built. To illustrate, I got angry at our eldest if she threw up in the car, and I knew very well how prone she was to carsicks. Wow, true love. And then there's the other thing. I said I love you to that child every day for 5 years. She didn't say it back once. Not coldly, not to punish me. She just didn't. And I kept saying it, which I'd love to tell you was noble. At the time, it mostly felt like talking to yourself in a room. Here's why I didn't stop. I grew up in a house where nobody said it first. My father waited for evidence, some proof that it was safe. And he died waiting. So I decided I'll say it whether it comes back or not. It's not a transaction. I'm not making a deposit and checking for interest. Somebody in that house had to go first. And it was going to be the adult. And it took me years to work out what was actually happening. She wasn't rejecting me. She was being loyal. Her father is alive. He loves her and she loves him. And every time a kid in that position says to a other man with a new man, some part of her is checking whether that counts as betrayal. She wasn't withholding. She was protecting. She was protecting him, which, when you think about it, is exactly the quality you'd want in a daughter. The day I understood that, the silence stopped feeling like a verdict. And I stopped needing it to end. She was with her dad as part of the custody agreement. I phoned her like I usually do every once in a while, just to check in. And as per usual, I ended with, I love you. The next words was one of the most emotional moments of my life. I love you too. I literally dropped the phone and started crying. My poor wife thought something terrible happened. And it took me a few minutes to explain. And we both sat on the floor crying. And it was worth something precisely because she hadn't been handing it out. She'd already seen the worst of me in a kitchen over a glass. She wasn't going to say something she didn't mean yet. So here's where I've landed. I wrote down that I wanted to change lives, and it came true. It just didn't come as a stage. It came as two girls who watched me and made me be a different man in front of them. The bankruptcy got me the tower. The divorce got me the person. And a 5-year-old with a broken glass got me the father I'd written down without knowing it. Every single thing on that page arrived in a shape I would have never chosen and could not have predicted. That's not a warning. That's the actual mechanism. You write down what you want. You don't get to write down how. Two things. First, please, in the name of God, give me a better word than stepdaughter. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds like an asterisk. There's no version of that word that describes someone you take a bullet for. I've been looking for 8 years. Please give me a name in the comments. Second, what did you write down that turned up in a shape you didn't recognize at the time? I'll read every comment. Please be the one who breaks it.